Hi, and welcome to this issue of News Direct, the podcast. I'm joined by James Sweeting, who is the chairman, I think that's the way to say it, isn't it, of Lincoln and York, which I'll let you tell us a bit more about how that, but you've had quite a long career, I think. I think we're not dissimilar in age, but
56 on Monday.
Yeah, you're a lot older than me.
Yeah.
So there's well, happy birthday for Monday.
Thank you.
What we try to do in the podcast is really just to try and it's about inspirational people. People have done good things and managed to do things. And you, obviously, people will know Lincoln and York because if you've ever been on the A15 heading towards the Humber Bridge, there's a reasonable chance you will have smelt these strong coffee aromas that come from Lincoln and York. And people who are not local go, "Oh, what's that? What's that smell that comes?" And they find it's a bit like, I'm a Brig lad, so we grew up with a sugar factory smell and that rich, sweet, smell that we got used to. So and now we're used to it with Lincoln and York, I suppose. But so tell us about your early life. What was that like? Did you always want to grow up to be the chairman of Lincoln and York? Not that you even knew that, but what was it like growing up? What was it like when you were young? What did you want to be?
Well, I grew up in a village near Howden in East Riding of Yorkshire, and I still live only a mile from where I was born. We grew up on a family farm, and as I was growing up, I was just going to be a farmer. It never crossed my mind that it would be anything different from that. Everyone I knew were farmers or farmers' sons, so that was sort of nailed on, and that's what I wanted to do. Then I went away to school when I was 11, and I think when I was about 14, I must have read or saw people who were trading in the City of London and that whole vibe of, I suppose, a relic of the empire, people in bowler hats walking around and trading gilts and stocks and things like that.
Did you have any experience of doing that in your family then? Or was
Nothing at all.
What was it like when you told your parents that's what you wanted to do? Did they go, what?
Well, they just probably ignored me to start with.
That's what
I think my dad was quite interested. I was interested in making money. Which is always not far from his thoughts. And that sort of interest developed, and then I realised that you traded commodities, coffee, cocoa, sugar, the metals, financial futures, all sorts of derivatives. And by the time I was 15, 16, I knew that I wanted to work in the city, and I wanted to be a trader, a stockbroker or commodity broker. I wasn't really bothered which element, as long as I could find a niche. And crucially, I made the decision not to go to university. My mother was horrified eventually. But I left school after A-levels and pretty much went to London within a year.
And what did you do your A-levels in?
Geography, economics, politics.
Oh, so that sort of fitted, didn't it? You'd got the right...
Yeah. I mean, O-levels were a bit of I was an average student because I was good at the arts, history and English. I was good at stuff like that. Maths and sciences eluded me. And so as soon as you get to A-levels, you get to choose, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
And even though economics is a mathematical subject, because I was so interested in it, it got me through, really.
It became more of a passion than a chore sort of thing. So your first job at 19, you went to you were, 25 miles away from here. You then went, which was outside the scope of your family because they were all local, presumably, as well, was it? Were you the only one who'd gone to London then? Was it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a big shock.
So they packed you up, sent you off.
Yeah, age 19.
Yeah. And where did you live?
Greenford.
Oh, right, okay.
So in West London, which is not the most attractive place in the world.
No.
But the company I worked for, which was a subsidiary of Allied Lions PLC, had a coffee and tea factory in Greenford. Okay. So I was actually factory-based rather than city-based.
Yeah.
Now, I knew that was a compromise for me because basically you're living in a suburb of London rather than the cool
bright
city.
Lights.
But I was interested in the manufacturing side of coffee as well, and I was in the city, once or twice a week anyway, dealing with traders and so on.
So you got to see the other side of
Oh,
how
yeah.
it all
Yeah.
played out. And how long was you there for?
I was there just under 5 years.
Right.
And I learnt the trade bottom up. It was a proper old-fashioned, good British company training scheme, effectively, where for the first 18 months I just roasted samples of coffee,
right,
and actually began to get a bit disillusioned. But eventually there was
hope came,
and I was really lucky in that the people above me in the department kept leaving.
Yeah.
So I got responsibility early, and actually by the time I was 23, I was running the department.
Right. What was that like as a young person then?
It was fantastic.
Was it?
Yeah.
You got
Because I had a spend of about 50 million. I was buying coffee from traders in London, in Hamburg, Amsterdam.
And did you go out and buy then, or was it a very desk-based thing?
No, I went out as part of the training. You went to East Africa,
right,
to learn about coffee harvesting and production there. So I went to Rwanda. I was in Rwanda before the Civil War. There, a couple of years later, they killed 1 million of
they
themselves.
did. Yeah.
Kenya, Tanzania, Ethiopia. And I went to the US as well. We had a sister company in the States, in New Jersey and Atlanta and Miami. And then I travelled in Europe visiting traders and decaffeination plants and things. So I did a bit of travelling, if that answers the question.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And then, so what was next after then? What was, you got all those skills?
So this is where the Lincolnshire connection comes in, because the first week I was at Lyons, the first year, I went on a coffee course run by the International Coffee Organisation in Berners Street in the West End of London, and it was well attended by all aspects of the industry. So basically, junior people learning, and the grand old dames, if you like, of the firms would deliver lectures on various topics, so buying, shipping, insurance, quality, and all this stuff. Anyway, that course, I met Simon Herring, who is my business partner, who's from West Raisin.
Yeah.
He worked for Cargill, which is a big US trading house. But he's a little bit older than me. He'd been there a few years, and he basically had enough. He wanted to come back to Lincolnshire and do something.
Yeah.
He thought about coffee roasting, and we sort of,
how did he come to that though? Because that's a bit. I was going to say, how did he come from it? Because Cargill's very industrial, wasn't it? It was
No, Cargill was a commodity trading house.
So it was just commodity, right?
So
how did he come to coffee then? Was he?
Well, he was trading coffee.
Okay.
Yeah. And he used to sell to me coffee from Kenya and Tanzania and so on.
Yeah.
So that's how we met on the course, and we had a bit of a relationship. And I just said to him, he told me what he was going to do or think, and I said, well, look, let's stay in touch, because actually I want to have my own business. I don't want to work for somebody else.
Yeah.
In our family, we didn't know anyone who worked for anybody else.
No.
Farmers they all have their own businesses, right? So, not
that doesn't come without risk and headaches and all the other things that you.
Well, of course, but you don't think about that when you're 22.
Don't.
So,
no, you don't. That's the advantages of you.
You learn that later. So, anyway, cut a long story short, that's what we did. I left. He got started, and he rented a lockup in Brigg, Island Car Road in Brigg.
Yeah.
And then I joined him a year and a half later, and after a bit of arguing, we called the company Lincoln and York Limited. He had a silly first name for it, but I'll leave that. And that was Jan 31st, 94, I think.
And what's it been like having a business partner? Because sometimes that can be quite a tense thing. Because even if you're friends and you have a good relationship and you're both trying to make money and build a sustainable business, that can be tough, can't it?
Well, first of all, I'd say don't go into business with friends.
Yeah, that's your first advice.
That would be, I do a talk, and I have a list of 25 items.
Yeah,
and that's on the list.
Is it?
Yeah. Right. The second, but to answer your question, it was really important to have a partner. I mean, two heads are better than one. The usual thing. You can also pool capital.
Yeah.
as long as you're both aligned,
Yeah.
generally it's going to be a good thing, I would say.
And did you have a family or anything at that stage then, or did that?
No, I was 24.
You were just 24, and you were. Were you back living at home?
I came back home, and that was a bit of a shock.
I was going to say, I haven't got rid of you.
Yeah.
Then you came back to be larger than life as a 24-year-old.
Well, yeah, but I had no money now.
Yeah.
Because I'd left a good job, a good salary.
Yeah.
And, being feted all the time by traders, going out for dinner all the time.
Yeah. So you've been ruined. You're back in your dad's back bedroom.
Yeah. And then coming to Island Car Road Brig on a wet February morning.
Yeah. So what was that like then, that process into starting the business? Because always there's that inception period. Usually people try to manage to keep the job, but clearly that wasn't an option for you. You couldn't. The best advice they usually give you in the early days is keep your job for as long as you can, and then then leap.
I think you got to be all in.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I think a lot of people fail because of what you just
because they're trying to juggle two lives.
Can't let go, and that's security. No, you've got to. It's a bit binary, I think. You do one or the other.
Yeah.
But that first year was the worst year of my life.
Was it? Why do you say that?
It was. Well, it was a bit of a shock coming back here. What bit of money I had, I'd put in the business. We didn't draw any money. I think we drew £100 a week for the first 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
It was, and trying to get a business off the ground. And with no disrespect, North Lincolnshire was not the centre of the UK coffee scene.
No,
at that time.
I think we can all agree that.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I'm talking about 1994. Never mind 2025.
Yeah.
It was hard work.
And did you find that people struggled to connect with where you were from then? Was that a barrier, or was it? No, it was just a product thing. Was it you had to establish your product, prove you could do it, and then flog to markets? Is that?
Yeah. No, it was nothing to do with.
No, we wanted the place. So the evidence, what you could say then is that you could start a global or national business from here, and do a good job of it. You could make some money and hopefully build a successful business. I'm drawing that out as a reference. Yeah. Would you agree with that? No.
Yeah, I think to be clear, we were only selling locally in the first place.
Okay. So what were your customers then? Your initial?
Anybody would have fresh coffee. So we roasted coffee, and we would go out with samples and knock on the doors of coffee shops, hairdressers, garages.
So there used to be a little coffee shop in Brig. Did you see the little? You probably sold to them. I remember. Maybe.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Within 4 or 5 years, maybe 6 years, we had about 1,000 accounts between Scarborough and Lincoln.
Oh, really? So that is,
selling direct Indian restaurants, hotels, and so on. I mean, I've got quite a few stories, maybe not for today, but when we started, there was one espresso machine in a Italian restaurant in Scunthorpe, and one in Grimsby, and they were both bad payers.
That's a challenge.
That was the level of sophistication.
So it's one thing to sell it; it's another thing to get the money for it.
Absolutely,
and I'm sure you've got some interesting stories on those journeys as well, have you?
Oh yeah, we did sell, and I mean, one of the stories is we sold an espresso machine, which is quite a high value item to us at the time.
Yeah, but it was a good bolt on for your business, wasn't it?
Yeah, a couple of £1,000.
Yeah,
sold it loaned it. I can't remember, to a restaurant in Grimsby. Or somewhere like that, Cleethorpes maybe, and anyway, of course he didn't pay, and we had to go in and collect it.
Yeah.
After a number of calls and meetings, and we went in, and Simon and another guy grabbed the machine, and I had to fend the other guy off, and he had a hammer.
Oh God.
And he just started smashing the place up. So that was We earned a beer that day.
I was going to say, these are the high lives of being in business, you see. So don't you sit there and count the cash,
It was really important to us because it was on our balance sheet, was that damn thing. So we needed it back.
Yeah. Well, and it's true though, isn't it? I think, at the end of the day, the work day hasn't stopped when you're in business. Would you say that?
It's always on my mind.
Yeah. However, and I suppose the more you grow. So how would you narrate the story of your business today from the origins of you two being on Island Car and Brig, which anyway it's that industrial estate as soon as you come in on the left hand side.
Yeah.
How would you narrate your story to where you are now at Elsham? And was there some steps in the middle? Or?
Oh, of course, there's steps. So we had one lockup in Island Car Road, then we had two, and then the third one, and then we had one across the way, and then we got a little forklift to move stuff between.
Yeah.
As the business was growing, what really changed was that took us from being a local supplier and was realizing that actually we were better at making products than some of our competitors or even some other people around the country.
Right.
And we realized that actually what we should do is get in a car, go to London or get on a train maybe, and say to people, look, who are, say, distributors in their own area of product, say, look, we'll let us roast your coffee for you, and then means you can focus on what you're doing, and you've got all sorts of problems with emissions in the city, in London, and so on,
of course,
and hassle. You just focus on selling it, and we'll make it for you. We'll be better than you, and we'll be cheaper than you.
So you remove some of your competition by adding value to your own business.
Yes, you could look at it that way.
Yeah.
But they became our customers, and some of them still are.
Okay.
20 odd years later. So it was really just accelerating probably what was going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
But it meant that suddenly we were a national business.
Yeah.
And so we sold the local business, actually. You used to be able to see Lincoln and York swing signs outside cafes.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
We sold that to focus on manufacturing for others. And that's where we are today. We're a private label manufacturer for what we call the out-of-home trade, which is hotels, coffee shops, but chains of them, you know. We can't sell to Mrs. Miggins' pie shop anymore.
No.
Everything goes minimum pallet load sort of thing.
Yeah.
And you know, today we're sort of 75 million turnover business, and we trade all over the UK and into 25% into Europe.
Right.
So back to your point before, the fact that we're in North Lincolnshire, up at Elsham, has no, you know, it's a positive for us generally for trading around the world, around Europe, or around the UK for that matter.
Yeah, being in the sort of Humber area has been an advantage, presumably, isn't that?
It's been really good for logistics.
Yes.
Plenty of haulage.
Yeah, we're quite well connected here. I think we underplay that. But it's really.
Yeah. Well, the trouble is here there are some great manufacturing businesses, but too much of the haulage is probably just moving from port to destination.
Yeah.
Whereas actually, you know, if you can add value further.
Well, adding value is where you can make some money.
That's what we're in.
Yeah. So business careers are often defined by, there used to be an article in the paper I used to read when I was in my early 20s, and it always used to be, and I'd love to read it, my biggest mistake was the question, you know, and business leaders would be drawn to be asked what their biggest mistake. What would you say your biggest mistake was? Well,
I get asked this a lot. I can honestly say there's nothing majorly strategitic.
No.
That's a mistake. Of course, we make mistakes. Every day. I would say there's potentially two things. The first is people.
Yeah.
You know, our biggest mistakes are in terms of employing the wrong people, so people-related mistakes, if you like, where you recruit a candidate, you think they're going to turn out well, they don't. You drag the process out too long. Eventually, you get rid of them, but really, you should have got rid of them straight away.
Well, it's not a good fit for them. They're obviously processing a load of stress if they don't feel like they fit in the organisation. It's not easy for anybody, that is it?
No, but most times they think they're okay.
Yeah.
You know, so I always say that everyone, including me, has a lack of self-awareness.
Yeah.
You know, and over-promoting people. The classic is where let's say you've got a great salesman.
Yeah.
And they are, you know, number 1 out of 5 or 6 salesmen by a clear margin. So you make them sales manager.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
Because they're good at selling, not at managing.
Yeah.
It's like making the best football player or best rugby player your captain.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
Because that's not what they're good at.
No.
So, there are lots of little people mistakes.
Yeah.
And, you never eliminate those because you're dealing with the unknown, really.
Yeah, well, people are probably the most complex thing that you have to deal with. And some of them are customers, some of them are employees,
That's right.
some of them, it's a...
Well, you know what they say, if it wasn't for staff or customers, we'd have a great business.
It's true. Be quiet for the accountants, but it's true. So, what would you what would you say as advice? I'm sure you ask this all the time. There will be people watching this, and actually, the purpose of this as a podcast is to get people to relate to people who've been on the journey that you've been on. So people don't just see it as where you are now, but they think about what it was like at the start, where two sort of mates who knew each other from a journey who then went on to take that leap into 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 units, and obviously the big purchase being that forklift truck that went between.
That's right.
So what advice would you give, not to people who are in that sort of space who think, actually, you know what? We'll have 3 bits of advice, because I know what one of them is going to be, which is make the leap. Well, you've already said that. Just do it. Rip the plaster. What would your other 2 bits of advice be to anybody aspiring to go into business?
I could probably make it more than 3. But if I had to keep it to 3, one would be make the leap.
Yeah.
Because what's the worst that's going to happen? Well, assuming you're young enough.
Well, there's the point.
So I will caveat this by saying it's a lot easier if you're starting when you're young. Yeah. When you don't have any dependents, wife and kids hanging around.
Yeah.
So that, let's say that. And I have a lot of respect for people who do it later in life when they do have family and have to put their houses on the line.
Yeah. Well, and the more you've got, the more they expect.
And there's more risk.
Yeah.
So, assuming it's a youngish person, and they haven't got too much in the way of baggage, I would say, A, make the leap. B, persistence is the most underrated attribute of all.
Yeah.
And consultants will never talk about that, and business advisors, because it's not academic enough.
No.
They can't put a ratio to it or an equation.
Yeah.
But the ability to just keep buggering on in is really key, because there are days and weeks when you just think the world's coming in.
Yeah.
And you have to keep going, and too many people give up.
Yeah. If you can keep your head when all around you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, it's a fact, isn't it?
Yeah. So the persistence is really important. Just, that focus, just keep going. You've got a plan. Obviously evaluate as you go,
keep testing your plan.
But keep going and don't give up. That would be the number 2. And number 3 would be well capitalised.
Right.
So many businesses fail because they haven't got enough capital.
Yeah.
And I think it's worth waiting a little. So let's say you have a business idea.
Yeah.
Or a mate says, "Come on, let's go and do this."
Yeah.
Just take stock and go, well, actually, if we just waited another 6 months, we can put another 10 grand in the pot.
Yeah.
Or another 20 or whatever.
Build some resilience before you start.
Yeah, because things will go wrong.
Yeah.
And you need that a bit of a buffer. And what happens when people start running out of money is they then are taking the eye off the business, and all they're worried about is getting money in.
Yeah.
And they will usually take it from the easiest source.
Yeah. And
the easiest source is likely to be the highest rate of interest with the most onerous penalties.
Yeah.
And the extension to that is, if you're in that position, you are very unlikely to have a good relationship with a bank.
Yeah.
And so you need a good relationship with a bank.
Yeah.
And don't overspend.
Yeah.
That early capitalisation is really key, because that's why businesses fail.
Or you'll end up taking on customers that are not good customers for a good fit for your organisation to try and you end up with an unprofitable business rather than one that, it's, as you say, you're purposely chasing cash. So I think they're really good. And so if someone was a bit older if somebody was a bit older, what would you say there? What would your advice be there? Because, like, sometimes there is something about being a bit older and having the experience that life gives you. What advice would you give to somebody if they were in, well, our sort of age, 50 now, saying, actually, I've got 10 good years of work in me. I could start a business. I could make a difference. What advice would you give to them? I mean, some of it will be common.
Of course. All those things I just mentioned are all common.
Yeah.
And you'd like to think if somebody was our age that they would have a bit of fat on their backs, if you like. They can cope. I would say, break the plaster, do it. Because if you don't do it now, you never will.
No.
At that age. And I think I would probably say, because we do see people of that sort of age coming in, especially if they get a redundancy check or something like that, and they open a coffee shop or they open a business. is do your sums.
Yeah.
Do your sums, because if you do lose a lot of money, it's going to be harder to get it back at that time. So make sure you do your sums.
Plan for every eventuality.
And don't be naive.
Yeah.
Just because you were good in your job, nobody cares when you walk out that door.
No, it's true. You're only as good as your last experience, aren't you?
Nobody cares. And I see it a lot where you're well, it happened to me at age 24. You're a big fish in a small pond. Everyone's being nice to you and respectful of you. When you go out the door and try and sell something, all that disappears.
Yeah, it's gone, isn't
it? I do think there are occasions when someone's built up such a level of expertise, let's say, or knowledge of let's say even in your line of work, you might say, well, I know how this local government stuff works, and I know how this tendering works. I reckon I could do it better.
Yeah.
And you might have worked it out how you could do it, and be better than the next person. So often they're the people that do make a real success because they've worked out where the gap is.
Yeah.
And by the nature, they are a bit older because they've been had the experience.
Yeah.
And they've got that knowledge. They've got a bit of fat on them. They know where all the bodies are buried.
Yeah.
They know what's needed.
Yeah.
And then they just have to implement it.
Well, you're right. Functioning, having an innovative environment is good, isn't it? Creating a space where everyone can understand it's good to innovate and to come up with ideas and never worry about, the fact that some of them won't be good at the ideas because some things fall. But as long as you're still in a culture where everyone feels safe to keep saying, of course, I'm up for that. I can come up with another idea. It's not, innovative ideas are not the premise of just the old or the young, for that matter. They are. I think a lot of that's a culture, isn't it, in which people feel that they can say, I don't mind having an idea, and I think it will as long as the organisation can manage the risk about how those are implemented. So usually when we come towards the end of a podcast, we ask those 3 questions. It's a bit like the desert island disc model. It's not just to evidence we're not reinventing the wheel here. We've stolen from desert island disc. Don't attribute it. It won't be an issue, I'm sure. But it's what would you? So if you were, you have a busy life, you were then suddenly out in a boat and you were stranded on a desert island. Their question is, well, I'm paraphrasing it to 3, but if you had 3 discs to take away that would give you some solace, make you feel a bit better, what 3 tracks would you take away with you?
So it can't be a podcast.
Well, you could have a podcast. Yeah, we'll accept that. I'm turning to Lauren Laverne.
Well, apart from the Rob Waltham podcast.
Oh, of course. Well, yes, I highly recommend that.
Well,
you can have anyone. Come on.
Okay. I mean, I am a bit dull in that what I do in my spare time. I don't listen to a lot of music. I'll be honest with you. I don't. I once had a car. I had it for 3 years, and they came to collect it, and the guy said, "So there's still plastic on the cover." The I've never actually used it.
Oh right. Okay.
So you tie me down.
Yeah.
Okay. So George Harrison, "Here Comes the Sun."
Yeah,
I do like that.
Yeah, we need a bit of that.
We do like. I do like that,
especially on days like today.
And I like the Who.
The Who, yeah.
Won't Get Fooled Again. That's one of my favourite songs.
Oh yeah. Well, that's a good message for life.
Yes. Yeah. Great song. But I listen to I'm a really dull. I listen to what my hobby is investing in the stock market. So I listen to financial podcasts.
Okay.
And there are some great ones by a guy called Howard Marks.
All right.
And he runs a business called Oak Tree Capital in California.
Right.
And he's a billionaire as a chap. He's a very successful credit investor.
Yeah.
Or distressed debt. And he's an accountant by training. But he is one of the most interesting people you'd ever hear. He has a way of speaking.
Okay.
Which, if you're interested in those subjects, he has a very good way of discussing business and the business cycle and stuff like that. So if you're a bit of a geek, like I am, on this sort of thing.
Yeah, but you know what you like. Now, the other thing they say on a desert island disc is that you have a luxury item, something you don't think you can live without. Now, in past, we've had dressing gowns too. We've had I can't remember. We had some crafty stuff somebody wanted to take so they could keep doing what. So what would you choose to take as a luxury item?
My Dennis lawnmower tennis court. Sorry, the lawnmower for my tennis court.
Okay.
Yeah, that is my luxury item.
Is it? You're on a beach. Come on, what are you going to do?
Okay, on a beach. Oh, hey.
Only, I mean, you could, it'd cause a bit of a stir, I'm sure.
Okay, if I'm on a beach, I need something to do. I read Money Week magazine. You heard of the Week?
I've seen it in things.
Well, Money Week is the financial one.
Yeah, I've seen it. In
my week is ruled by when that comes out.
Okay.
So I have to have a copy of that.
Oh, that's good. Well, look, if it gives you a bit of solace, you can have that as into your desert island. Honestly, James, thanks very much for sharing your experiences. What has been really great for me is to listen to the highs and the lows and some of the experience and the life experiences that you've been able to share. And hopefully when people watch this, we're on that verge of setting up their own business. It's good to have that. And I think it will help them a great deal too.
Good.
Thank you so much again for joining us. Please like and share the News Direct, the podcast. It's really appreciated. We are gathering more and more viewers and listeners on Spotify. So until next time, thanks again.